We got it.
So you're all going to be on that, we're going to be all on that one feed, right? You're not doing multiple cameras are recording.
We're live.
We are live?
All right.
Beautiful. Hey, herzlich willkommen, welcome. As we're social distancing. Thank you. We're live here at Cedar Springs Brewing for our Shutdown happy hour. The first time we're live, and hopefully we're not sideways anymore as we've had a few technological difficulties, but we'll work our way through them. So thank you so much for joining us all. We are at Cedar Springs Brewing in the middle of downtown Cedar Springs, where we're enjoying our first ever live happy hour. And we've got a couple of our friends with us. Morgie is one of our front of the house people. We haven't seen you in so long.
It's exactly 2 months now.
2 months that you have
been socially distancing myself from work. It's
well,
been
we're all
terrible.
trying to social distance here today. So,
yeah.
What have you been up to?
Oh goodness, what have I been up to? I've just been trying to stay busy, doing a lot of crafts, honestly. I've found a lot of time to just kind of explore my own interests. So like painting and drawing, I've kind of...
Painting. If there's no pictures now, it didn't happen.
No, to Pixar it didn't happen, right? No, Audie picked me up a sketchbook one of the times she was running to the store and got me like all these cool pencils and everything. So I've been sketching.
So you're a Navy veteran, but you're an artiste as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right brain, and left brain.
Yeah, jack of all trades.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And we've got Nick over here from the front of the house. Now, Nick, you have not been on layup. You've been with us the whole time here
I have.
as our prep extraordinaire. We're doing a million things in the kitchen as we're continuing to move forward as best we can during this time. So what have you been up to? How's Shutdown here been for you? Has it changed much?
It's changed a lot. We're taking a lot of precautions to make sure everybody's safe, for one thing. Getting a lot of more extra work, surprisingly, from various other places, like Spartan Ash is a wonderful project that we're doing now.
Right.
So
This is actually nice to see you without a mask on, actually,
yeah.
but from a safe distance, of course.
Yes,
So.
it's hard to tell if anybody's smiling.
That's right.
Right.
We don't know anybody smiling at all. And then we have the multi-talented Jim Spalink over here. So he's providing us with a little bit of music today, and we'll get a chance to listen to him more soon. And we're also going to be doing a lot of your questions. So if you're on the live presentation, you want to start punching in questions, we're going to get to some of those just a little bit later on. So feel free to fire away, and we will start answering questions, whether you're still with us or not. But we'll answer some of those, and then if you need to come back and watch the recording later on, this will obviously be still be available. So Jim's also part of Andro, and we do sessions with Selkie, which is another Celtic or Irish influenced, and we'll be listening to a little bit of the harp today. And while we're sitting here getting cozy, what is everybody drinking this morning?
I've got the Munich Dunkel.
The Munich Dunkel.
Yes, the Munich Dunkel.
This is a wonderful Munich-style dark lager. It's the style of beer that made Munich famous.
Yeah.
It's got kind of a little malty, roasty, toffee.
That's definitely what I go for. If the Munich Dunkel isn't on tap, then I'll stick with the Märzen usually, but I'm a lager kind of girl.
You're like lager girl, aren't you?
I'm a lager kind of girl.
And that's a seasonal, so obviously, typically this comes out late winter for us, and
Right.
it's lasting a little bit longer because things
I know,
are
it's so
slowed.
nice. I can't believe we actually still have it.
Things are slowed down a little bit. Yeah, we have been open obviously for growler sales. I think a lot of people have been able to come in and keep their growlers refreshed. We're able to fill any 64-ounce growler. There's a couple of them sitting up here. Yep. And cool little insulated containers. Yeah, so those have been fun. We're trying to help when we can. We did one little quick run of cans too, which was
I
nice.
heard about that.
Yeah,
they
we
sold out fast, huh?
Like 5 days. We blew through those
That's
quick. So
impressive.
that was good. We had to borrow a canner, so it's not something we're able to do all the time,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But it was. We had some extra beer sitting in a fermenter.
Just had some laying around.
Just had some laying around. Well, we don't want it to go to waste, you know.
Right.
If we had we worked through our friends at Westside Distributing that normally send beer out to all of our bars and restaurants here locally, and obviously they weren't able to pick anything up.
I'm sure that they were super sad about that.
What could we do with all that extra beer, Margie?
Drink it.
That's a good idea.
I mean, if you got to do it, you got to do it.
Nick, what do you got over there?
I got a Märzen.
A Märzen? We should probably raise a glass.
Probably
with all
should.
that. Kristen, you know, Jim has his Irish ale, which is the Irish word for Ireland. So that's a fine Irish stout. And then I am drinking the Weizenbock. This is also a seasonal. It's not just for breakfast anymore, but this is a strong wheat beer. So Prost, German word for cheers. Or Solange, as it were. This is actually a nice little seasonal. This is based on, many people have heard of Aventinus, which is a Bavarian style of Weizenbock from Schneider Weiss, which is kind of the world's oldest 6th generation now Weissbier brewery. And they came out with a strong version called Aventinus in 1904, I believe. So we're kind of based on that. In fact, I was watching their live feed yesterday. They're also doing kind of a Friday night happy hour, and they had a few friends on there answering questions on Aventinus and drinking a little bit of that for Friday evening. So that was a ton of fun. So Nick, you started talking a little bit ago about what all we're doing during shutdown. So we still have takeout going on. So you guys have been busy in the mornings doing a lot of the takeout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how's that prep work going?
Busy.
Well, yeah, it was cool. Our friends at Spartan Nash also were able to be part of a cool local project with them, where we've been delivering take and bake, if you will, some of our German menu items.
Some of our old German menu items, too.
Yeah, exactly. That we're able to take home. You can pick them right up. There's family fairs in Rockford, down in Northland Drive, the Northview area, and Sparta, along with several other local restaurants. There's a number of them throughout D&W, Spartan Nash's, family fairs throughout the area that have all been able to do this. So it's really been kind of a cool project. But
Yeah.
we're able to bring your partner in crime back,
My partner in crime, my good buddy Brian.
Brian. So we were able to bring one of our people back
Yeah.
off of layout, which has been cool. So
Yeah.
the Nick and Brian show has been going in the mornings.
It's been going great.
I saw that video in our group. That made me laugh so hard. It really made my day start off right.
Well,
Seeing
it
you
is
guys-
shameless, the romantic music they listen to back there all the time. It's but so we've had these grocery items going out to Spartan Nash, and then we've had takeout available.
Yeah.
And we have curbside, of course. So if people do come up, they can call in. We'll bring their food items out to them, and we're also doing delivery now for the first time. So we've never done this before, but we have local delivery going on. So a lot of your front of the house peeps have been helping out
On
doing
the
that.
front
So
lines.
yeah, so 5 miles ish or so. I don't know how would we say that in English, but we're able to. We're able to, deliver a little happiness to
that's
folks,
super great.
folks here locally that order up. You can call at any time, 616-696-BEER, and we have takeout, as I mentioned, to anybody. Fill that growler,
Yeah.
$2 off anytime that you do stop in for a growler fill, and then. You didn't know that?
I haven't been
See,
here.
we haven't seen you in 2 months.
No, I'm missing all the good stuff. $2 off growlers. I should come in more often.
Yeah, well, we'd all miss you. Just be sure you wear your mask. So,
Right.
we're doing obviously for people that do come in, we have the social distancing in order. There's some marks on the floor where people can come in and they
I
know
saw that out there, out front, that
Right.
little X's. Those are cool.
So they have at least 6 foot as they are coming in. We certainly do recommend masks for inside, according to.
And I saw Josh in the window, like using it like a drive-through window because we've got the garage doors.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
When the weather's been nice, we started that a couple weeks ago. We had some nice days. You can actually don't even have to come in. You can
Yeah.
walk right up to the window on the side here on Maple, as we're located at the corner of Maple and Main in
Yeah, right
downtown
over
Cedar
there.
Springs. And you can come right up to the window, and it's like the biggest
Drive-through
walk-up
window.
window you've ever seen. It's better than
Yeah.
ice cream.
No, it's
Big
great.
orders,
For those, big orders and little orders. You can get the growler going through there too. Obviously, these are unprecedented times, and everybody's trying to get through all of this the very best they can. And certainly encourage anybody out there, wherever you are, to support your local restaurants and your breweries as best you can, because it's tough on everybody. We had a staff of 48 people.
Yeah, something like that.
And while we miss you, I think we have 19 that are still.
I didn't even realize we had that many. I
Yeah,
thought it was
19
less
that are
than
still
that.
still hanging around here to try to continue to serve our community and doing the takeout, doing the the curbside, doing the delivery. And that's one of the reasons we did the delivery ourselves, was to keep as many of those people as we can working.
Yeah.
We are missing all of you, though, the atmosphere here, and we're hoping that this stuff is over in the next couple of weeks and we're able to sit outside or at least have a handful of our friends here. Which is, well, yeah, that's actually a good question. So, Morgie, you're usually at the front of the house, so you're dealing with the customers. What have been some of the things that you've missed as we haven't been able to hang around?
Well, honestly, I'm kind of more of a sassy person, and so just kind of, I know it's strange, right? It's weird, like, but just the back and forth banter with the customers. One of the things that I love most about where I work is like the sense of community that we have here. Like, it's not just about the employees that are around here. Like, it's really the customers that make the place, that hang around all the time. Like, I'm over here stressing, making sure that my Thursday night regulars are getting their schnitzels because they can't come in anymore. And I just miss everybody so much. It's nice, like, walking in to drop my stuff off, and I walk down the bar and everyone's like, Morgan, and I'm like, it's like cheers, everybody knows your name. And that's kind of one of the biggest things that I miss about.
That sounds like a TV show.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just miss, like, being around just so many people just coming in to have a good time, drink some good beer, have some good fried chicken.
Well, and that's one of the things with the Stammtisch,
Yes.
I mean, which is most breweries have a little mug club
Right.
a program, and with us, we kind of blended some of the Bavarian tradition, which a regulars table is a Stammtisch. So
Right.
we have a table that's kind of in the middle of our floor, where
Raised up real high.
right, where people can come in, by themselves, et cetera. And that's been one of the cool things, I think, here in this community. We've had people who've lived here their whole lives and show up
Yeah.
on a Wednesday and they meet somebody at Stammtisch that has also been in Cedar Springs their whole
Right.
life, and they've never met each other.
Right.
And then suddenly they start meeting on a regular basis, and friendships have been formed.
And the next thing you know, there's no room at the Stammtisch table because there's just so many friends sitting there. It's like they all
Right.
got to move to one of our long community tables because
Right.
there's so many people coming in.
Well, and Monday nights, that's kind of members' night, where there's
Oh,
some
yeah.
additional goodies for Stammtisch members, and it's been kind of neat to see. As it's taken a little time, but there's a whole group of regulars that come in now on Mondays and hang out and renew those friendships
Yep.
on a weekly basis, and that's really what that German tradition's about. When you go to some of the larger halls there,
Right.
there may be tables all around that. On Tuesday night, the biking club meets here, and on Wednesday night, there's a book club or some old friends from high school, et cetera, that may claim that as their table, and they meet there every week,
sounds
or
like here.
every other week, or once a month, or whatever
Yeah.
the case is, to renew those friendships. So, and that's been cool to see a lot of that.
No,
here
yeah.
involved.
I mean, I've worked here for this summer will be my 4th year working here.
And you weren't quite an original, right?
No, I didn't start at the very beginning. I got hired in our first summer.
Okay.
And just like watching all
Fresh
of
off the boat, as it were.
Yeah, well, no, I'd been off the boat a couple years by that point, but just like watching all of these different relationships and friendships kind of form working here, just all of the regulars that come in and finally sit next to each other and have a beer, and then the next
Right.
thing you know, they're in like every Sunday sitting at the table together. It's just really nice. Like, I feel like it's definitely kind of brought the community of Cedar Springs really together. It's like a nice little hub where like you can still bring your family, you can
Right.
bring your kids in. It's a very comfortable place, very accepting place. It's just nice to have in Cedar Springs because there's not a lot of places like that around. So
Well, and it's nice being close to Grand Rapids too. We have a lot of people
Yeah.
that come, that obviously will make the trip as well.
absolutely.
And then, Nick, your schedule obviously is a little bit different because you're usually here early in the day,
Much earlier.
in the morning. And I mean, for you guys, it's been a little exposure sometimes to some different food than maybe you've created at other places you've been working.
Yeah.
Are there any of the dishes that you've missed that we haven't been able to serve as we've modified the menu a little bit during this shutdown?
Oh, absolutely. Spring rolls. I miss spring rolls. I'm not doing spring
I
rolls
was
anymore.
actually like kind of hoping I could snag some before I
Yeah,
went home.
sometimes
today.
we've done them as specials a little bit, but they do take a little longer.
Yeah.
Oh
for
yeah,
the-
those ones are hard, especially for prep. So
Yeah.
I imagine.
I miss spending 2 hours making 500 spring rolls.
I
every-
bet. I mean, that's just nothing
Really
but
miss spending
good
all that quality
old-fashioned fun
time
back in the
with
kitchen.
myself.
Yeah.
Well, they managed to have fun. We have a private employee page where we get to see, and there was some videos of Nick and Mick, Nick and Brian the other day rocking and rolling as they were doing their
They were jamming hard.
they were doing their prep.
How do you think we get through the day?
Yeah, no, that's definitely one way to
Well,
do it.
quite honestly, I mean, with the downsizing of our staff and not as many people here, I mean, your hours have actually been pretty close to normal, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got to keep you.
Back and forth.
We got to keep you busy.
Yeah, gotta keep me busy, or I'm gonna end up dancing in some corner somewheres. And
What else? Anything else that you
Don't
missed
let
besides
Nick
the spring rolls?
uh,
Well, we don't do as many schnitzels. We don't have
Yeah,
our
we
daily
don't.
schnitzel. Obviously, normally we have 5 or 6 schnitzels on the menu at any given time.
Yeah.
But and
yep, just doing
spinach dip is still there. Yeah. When the Brussels sprouts themselves, we're
Yeah, not doing those either.
not doing those right now. And the main reason for that is that they just don't travel very well.
No. I
The
imagine
problem
so.
is those are great and they're wonderful when they're fresh, but when you're putting them in a,
Especially
they
after they're
steam.
fried.
Well, yeah, they steam themselves a little bit and they start to
Yeah.
get a little soggy and they lose
Yeah.
some of that
The
bite. in you.
crunchiness that everybody loves
Right.
about them.
Right, so that's really a quality thing. We just didn't want people having them in the car for 10 or minutes or 30 minutes and then
Right.
suddenly trying to,
Yeah, I don't think that those would transfer very well
Right,
in a car
right.
ride.
right. So, okay, well, hey, we're going to take just a quick little break here, but don't go away because we're going to, one of the things that we feature here on a regular basis in the summer on Tuesdays and Thursdays outside, but really all year long on Wednesday nights and on Sundays during brunch, and brunch is one of the things that I miss. We feature live music from incredibly talented local artists, and one of those is Jim over here. So we're going to take a quick little break, and we'll see if Jim can entrance us with a little bit of Celtic magic here. Celtic magic in the middle. We love it when the whole groups comes in through Andro or through Selkie, but it's also wonderful to have you by yourself. So.
Thank you. Cool. This is an old Irish traditional tune. It's called the Munster Cloak.
Awesome. We so miss that on our Sunday mornings with our with brunch. So,
Just being transported to a faraway land.
Right.
well, I mean, the Celtic and the Germanic traditions, both in music and in drinking, are
Weird.
rather closely
Our two
related.
favorite
Yeah,
pastimes.
Well, kindred spirits is a good way, and I'm blessed to have a little blood from both running through me veins. So I've always enjoyed Irish music. Had a chance to I had a chance to go there when I was young, and a chance to go there a couple years ago. And although the last time I was there, I got to say, it was kind of depressing, or a little I don't want to say disappointing, but you're going to a lot of these places, especially in the countryside, and you expect to hear some wonderful Irish music, and they're in there playing Garth Brooks and Tom Petty
Ireland?
and yeah, it's like we want to. Although I'm sure they get tired of their.
It's much like the blues were unpopular in America, but it actually in Britain it was very popular. And in the '60s, the British invasion, Pink Floyd was one of them. They brought back the blues to us because we didn't really appreciate it. And
Right.
we're kind of doing the same to the Irish. We're bringing them back.
Well, I mean, jazz has almost been the same way too. Germany still has a very vibrant jazz scene, which you really don't see that much in the U.S. anymore.
Yeah. They'll keep it safe for us.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, we prefer to keep it lubricated, so I think it's a good time as well to continue to make sure that we're not dying of thirst in here. As we mentioned, we're going to take questions from you guys as well. So as you guys are logging online, go ahead and type your questions into the chat bar if you have any, and we will get to those here in just a couple of minutes. I see there's some comments already coming in, but continue to, if you have questions, pop those in there, and we'll get to a couple of those in a moment. This has been a difficult time for all of us, and we did want to spend a few minutes and talk about some of the safety procedures and the things that we've been doing here to ensure that we're keeping our public safe, our guests safe, that we're keeping our employees safe.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we're kind of doing this social distance here thing today, but typically we're all looking at each other wearing masks while we're in here.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
I saw that whole, on the kitchen door, all the Serve Safe certificates that are all lined up all nice and neatly.
Right. Yeah, so we've had everybody that's still here, and there's been some of the folks that are on temporary furlough that have taken some of the classes as well. So ServeSafe, which is run through the National Restaurant Association, is an educational system that is in our industry. So they've put out a separate set of delivery and takeout courses in addition to safe food handling courses. We have our management staff has always taken the food manager courses, but
Right.
We've had all the staff then taking those. So
That's
as
awesome.
you mentioned, and we'll have to post those online at some day, but there's an entire wall out there that has all the certificates from the courses that everybody's been taking. And Nick, I know you just took the additional food handler course here this past week.
I can tell you how to wash your hands properly.
That's right. Well, and there's a technique to that.
Yeah,
honestly,
there is.
because a lot of people really
It's
don't.
good.
They kind of stick
You
them in the
gotta
water.
really
They look
get-
at the water and call it good enough.
Get
And
your arms.
sanitizer's not nearly good enough. To properly wash our hands with warm water and getting soap everywhere between the nooks and crannies. But in addition to that, I mean, we were actually with our chef Brandon in Germany when all this came down, and it first started to break out in Italy.
I didn't think you were coming home.
Well, we weren't sure at first.
You guys were flying back Thursday, and
We flew the
cutoff
day-
was Friday, right?
Well, yeah,
At
we flew the
midnight.
day that they moved most of the European countries from a level 1 threat to a level 3 threat. So we remained on a 14-day quarantine ourselves.
We did,
So I
yeah.
went almost a month between the travel and then 2 weeks at home sleeping in the basement, and I didn't get to hug my kids.
No, that's so
So I have 2 9-year-old boys, so that was, I had to kind of wave at them from a distance, but
Right.
we got through that. Right away, we removed half the tables in our location, went to
Yeah,
50%
very-
capacity, and you were
Yeah.
still here when we
I was
did
still
that.
here for that one.
Yep.
That was heartbreaking.
It was hard, and I think it was frustrating for customers a little bit at first too, because then
Right.
suddenly we didn't have the space to set the normal number of people
We were on like
down,
3-hour waits or something just because we had no space for everybody.
which kills.
Oh yeah, talk
um,
about anxiety.
But instituting additional cleaning measures, constantly cleaning and sanitizing any touch surfaces on a regular basis. Even now during takeout and delivery, they're sanitizing the check presenters and the touch screens and
Sealing the boxes
the
down,
pens.
too, I saw.
All the pens, if somebody's using a pen to write with, and that gets sanitized again between uses.
Yeah.
In the kitchen now we have additional sealed sealing of the boxes so that folks know.
That they hasn't been tampered with at all.
Yeah, I can't read that, by the way. It's said behind. Sorry. To make it tamper-proof, but making sure that once the clean hands have touched it in the kitchen using single-use gloves and obviously the masks and the social distancing, that we want to make sure that that's sealed up so that there is no contaminant or nothing falls out when you're in the middle of the in the middle of driving things home. So we're continuing. The National Restaurant Association again has been limiting guidance through the nationally. The Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association is continuing to issue guidance that we're following along with the CDC. So we're making changes and updating our procedures on a regular basis. We do have the plans. We had plans for a downtown location that we're continuing to work on.
How is that going?
Well, we kind of didn't ever give a date, but we were hoping to be open in July. And that's not going to happen, at least on time right now. We're still planning and working towards that project, but honestly, timing right now, we just don't know. I mean, hopefully, currently in Michigan, our order is up on the 28th, and hopefully that holds, or we have at least to start to begin our reopening process.
Right.
And we'll continue to move forward with that. But we're certainly hoping to get that open in the form that it's in. But who knows? It's a brave new world out there, and we may have to make some changes in what we're doing. We're going to take a quick peek here and see if we have any questions coming in. Some compliments to you, Jimmy.
Absolutely.
But we are, yes, the new location, okay, we kind of got to that already. So that is still in progress. On the west side, we have a few west siders chiming in as well. We are, along with the Spartan Nash project we mentioned earlier, we are going to be working with the Bridge Street Market downtown, and we're going to start having a few of our deli items down there in the next week or two coming. So that'll be a little preview, a little preview to what's being planned down there as well. We also, as some of you what are we planning when the shutdown is lifted? Well, that's a good question, Mary. As you guys may have recall, every year we have our spring festival, which is Starkbierfest, which is the strong beer festival, and that was totally bummed. That's kind of our biggest festival of the year. But at that time, we release a lot of our Bock beers and our strong beers. And we still have some of those on tap right now, the Maibock's there and the Weizenbock that I'm drinking as well. But we also laid a few things in a barrel. So we had some Buffalo Trace barrels.
What you got?
So we have some Weizenbock in the barrel, and we have some Maibock in the barrel.
Nice.
So Mary, once we get open, we're going to be able to share that with everybody. We'll be releasing those barrel-aged Bock beers for everybody to enjoy. So we'll have that'll be one way to kind of celebrate being done with this shutdown.
Nice grand old party.
Let's see if we've got any other questions here. We've got some cheers here from Minnesota. I think we have some friends from Munich, Germany that are watching at the moment. So hopefully the feed is coming through okay for all those guys. If anybody does have any other questions, fire these things away. And
Is David still watching? Can you tell? David, if you're still watching, I love you and I miss you so much, and I can't wait to see you again. It's been so long, and you're my best friend. Ugh.
Yeah, we had as I mentioned earlier, we kind of had Scott, thank you for the question, who's tuning in from Munich. He was one of the folks that we visited while we were over there as we toured a lot of restaurants. We spent 10 days working in some local restaurants in and around Munich. And we came back so fired up because we had all these new things and an entire notebook full of ideas and tweaks and new specials that we wanted to bring. And of course, this thing hit right away. So all those things are in the works. We have some tweaks to some of our current menu items, and then we have a few new things that we're excited to
menu items.
to bring out. We're working on a new menu as this was happening. So all those things will be coming as we get the doors back open, probably slowly again soon. So.
Ooh, I have a question.
Sure.
Actually, I know we always do Jeep night, so is that going to be something that we're still going to maybe try to work on? I know with like the shutdown,
Well,
everything's
yeah,
kind of
again, the
up in
timing is
air,
going to work
but-
out. I mean, Jeep Night and Dream Ride Night are both still in the works,
Oh,
so
cool.
we should be able to get those going in June. And also in June, this will be our 4th year of the Farmers Market.
Yes.
So we're actually
Yes.
talking to a lot of our vendors right now. Obviously, there'll be some new procedures in place for the social distancing. But we are planning on getting the farmers market open, and that's really a great local resource for our community to access fresh vegetables and
seriously.
local agricultural producers to be able to reach customers without having to go to the big supermarkets and deal with, you know, what sometimes is a crowded situation there.
And that kettle corn, it's so good.
And there's so there's some good treats out
Oh, yeah.
treats out there as well. So yes, farmers market. Keep an eye on our social media. That should be starting here as we enter into June. And then again, assuming we're able to open up and the governor lifts our stay-at-home orders, we're planning on Jeep night on Thursdays, and then Dream Ride night with our friends at Vanderhyde Ford
Right.
on Tuesday night. So those are really a highlight of our year. We enjoy seeing everybody and filling up the parking lot with Jeeps and some
Oh,
of
yeah.
the cool old rides.
Oh, yeah.
And there's usually some cool food specials to go with that as well. We would, and live music, we'd be remiss and totally bummed if we had to miss out on that this year. So we will get that stuff going as quickly as we can. So
I can't wait.
yeah. Well, anyway, we are hitting the 11 o'clock hour, so we're slightly after 2. We want to keep this neat and tidy. We appreciate your feedback and your comments. If this is too much, too little, we're happy to take that feedback, and we will continue to try to do this maybe for the next couple of weeks anyway, and we'll see how it goes. But this feed will still be available, and we hope that you're getting out and about and enjoying your Saturday. And we are here to participate. If you're in the mood to take a drive, we'll be here to help fill that growler and to give you a little nourishment to take on home. And Nick, you've gone and finished your glass before
I don't know what to do.
we told you we had a half an hour pace here, a half an hour pace. So
Yeah, easy,
anyway,
killer. You gotta go
thanks
back and
everybody
work,
for
don't
joining
you?
us. Das war schön, euch alle zu sehen, und bis den nächsten Mal. Prost.
Prost. Look.